Why do we turn a blind eye when the truth's in plain sight? It's not about blame, it's about setting things right. From the streets to Capitol Hill, where the laws are made, we seek answers, not just shadows in the shade.
Welcome to Hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, where I, a constitutionalist for liberty and citizen journalist, cut through the noise and bring you the facts. In a world where censors love to label anything they disagree with as misinformation or hateful, I'm here to ensure that you get the truth from all sides, right, left, and center. Of course, that's what moderates do. At Hashtag Go Right News, we dive deep into every story, ensuring that when opinions are presented, they are clearly stated as such. My mission is to push past the narratives and provide you with real, unbiased information. A little bit of bias because I've got my own opinion, but I'll tell you that. So the second attempt on Trump's life as the nation divides over guns and crime. Political rhetoric and violence escalate as Trump targets Democratic leaders' comments. And an alarming incident, a man attempted to assassinate Donald Trump again, second time, folks. And his son has since described him as someone trying to become a martyr for his cause. This tragic event highlights the rising tensions and political violence plaguing the country, driven by fierce divisions in ideology. This attempt on Trump's life is a sobering reminder of how dangerous political rhetoric can become when it spirals into action. And I can't believe that the son has no remorse over what his father did. He might as well be the one that did it too. The would-be assassin hid in the bushes near Trump's Palm Beach golf course for nearly 12 hours before being spotted and apprehended by Secret Service agents. The Trump campaign quickly responded to this, suggesting that the repeated hostile language from Democratic leaders has been a significant contributing factor to these attempts. The campaign email sent to Trump supporters cited the ongoing inflammatory rhetoric as the root cause of this evidence. The Trump campaign compiled a list of 50 quotes from Democratic figures, including Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and others who have publicly used aggressive language aimed at Donald Trump. Among these quotes, Kamala Harris repeatedly labeled Trump as a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. Joe Biden himself is quoted as saying, "It's time to put Trump in a bullseye." Such statements, the campaign argues, have incited violent reactions from their followers, like the assassin who targeted Trump. So Democratic rhetoric and its dangerous consequences. Trump's team went on to point out other incendiary statements, including one from Rick Wilson of the Lincoln Project, who said, "We're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump." While these remarks may be framed as figuratively in their context, they have been used to support the narrative that these words are not without real-world consequences. Trump's teams linked the assassination's motives linked it to the years of rhetoric and lies that have been flowing from Kamala Harris Democrats and their fake news allies. What's funny is because the people on the left will say, well, Donald Trump had it coming because of the years of his rhetoric and hateful tone. I'm like, yeah, trying to put America first and trying to deport people who shouldn't be here is not really that hateful. Among other quotes are one by Representative Stacey Plaskett, who stated, "Trump needs to be shot," before correcting herself to say stopped. Though many noted the correction felt forced, figures like Representative Adam Schiff and Representative Maxine Waters also made statements characterizing Trump as the gravest threat to our constitutional republic, or they'll probably say democracy. In this environment, Trump's campaign claims violent actions like the assassination attempts are encouraged by such rhetoric, adding to the growing risk of political violence. Kamala Harris reacted to the second assassination attempt with the words, "I am glad he is safe." This raises questions about the sincerity of her response, considering her previous comments labeling Trump as a threat to democracy. And the Trump team has questioned how she could simultaneously view him as a fundamental danger and express relief over his survival. As Trump teams pointed out, it's a contradiction that cannot go unaddressed. Democrats used increasingly incendiary rhetoric against President Trump in the days, weeks, and months leading up to the two assassination attempts. Now, I'm going to go over the full list. I'm probably going to mispronounce some of the names. Do I care that I'm disrespecting their names? Probably not. So Kamala Harris, Kamala Chameleon, repeatedly said, Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. Kamala Harris also said, it's on us to recognize the threat Trump poses. Kamala Harris also said, does one of us have to come out alive? Joe Biden said, it's time to put Trump in a bullseye. Joe Biden also said, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Trump is a threat to this nation. Joe Biden also said, there is one existential threat. It's Donald Trump. Joe Biden also said, Trump is a genuine threat to his nation, this nation. He's literally a threat to everything America is for. Joe Biden also said Trump and MAGA Republicans are a threat to the very soul of this country. Joe Biden also said Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic, and that is a threat to this country. Tim Walz said, are Republicans a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Gwen Walz said, bye-bye, Donald Trump. Representative Nancy Pelosi said Trump is a threat to our democracy of the kind that we have not seen. Representative Jasmine Crockett said MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically. Representative Dan Goldman said he is destructive to our democracy and he has to be eliminated. Disgraced Harris staffer T.J. Ducklow said Trump is an existential, urgent threat to our democracy. Top Harris surrogate Liz Cheney said Trump presents a fundamental threat to the republic, and we are seeing it on a daily basis. Representative Steve Cohen said Trump is an enemy of the United States. Representative Maxine Waters said, are Trump supporters preparing a civil war against us? Representative Maxine Waters also said, she said a lot of things, I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that Trump is connected with who are training up in the hills somewhere. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz said Trump is an existential threat to our democracy. Representative Adam Schiff said Trump is the gravest threat to our democracy. Representative Gregory Meeks said Trump cannot be president again. He's an existential threat to democracy. Representative Dan Goldman said Trump remains the greatest threat to our democracy. Representative Jake Archillos said what unifies us as a party is knowing that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. Representative Abigail Spanberger said Trump is a threat to our democracy and the threats to our democratic republic are real. Representative Annie Custer said Trump and his extreme right-wing followers pose an existential threat to our democracy. Representative Becca Balint said we cannot underestimate the threat Trump poses to American democracy. Representative Jason Crow said Trump is an extreme threat to our democracy. Representative Raul Jaraljalava says Trump is an existential threat to our American democracy. I'm seeing a pattern here. Senator Michael Bennet said Trump is a threat to our democracy. Representative Stacey Palesk said Trump needs to be shot. Wow. She didn't even sugarcoat it. Representative Stephen Horsford said Trump Republicans are a dangerous threat to our state. Representative Gabe Vansquez said remove the national threat from office. Representative Mike Levin said Donald Trump is a threat to our nation, our freedom, and our democracy. Representative Eric Sorensen said he is a threat, greatest threat to law and order we have in our country. Wow. Representative Greg Landsman said the threat is not over. Representative Pat Ryan said Trump is an existential threat to our American democracy. Rick Wilson, the Lincoln Project, said we're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump. Didn't even sugarcoat it. Former Harris Biden staffer Kate Bedingfield said Democrats should turn their fire on Donald Trump. And that doesn't even include the dangerous rhetoric against President Trump spewed by deranged Democrats during the 2016 and 2020 elections, the impeachment hoaxes, and the summer of love. Meanwhile, the deplorable commentary from Democrats and fake news in their aftermath of the latest assassination attempt has been even worse. Representative Hakeem Jeffries pulled fire alarm to get out of the vote, said we must stop Trump. Rachel Vindman, the wife of disgraced impeachment host Witness, said no ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. Representative Milky Sherrill said, this really seems to be the confluence of two very bad things going on in the Republican Party, the attempts to divide to enrage the population. Representative Steve Woodrow, Democrat from Colorado, said the last thing America needed was sympathy for the devil, but here we are. Lester Holt of NBC Nightly News said, today's apparent assassination attempt comes amid increasingly fierce rhetoric on the campaign trail. Mr. Trump, his running mate, J.D. Vance, continue to make baseless claims. Just brush over it. Alex Witt, MSNBC, said, do you expect there to be calls from within the Trump campaign to tone it down? Okay, yeah, all right. And Phil Bump, the Washington Post, said, another chance for Trump to frame Democrats as dangerous has emerged. And then Bill, I would say the number 10 for the Democrats to say, we need to have gun control. Bill Kristol of the Bulwark said, Vance incites political violence with lies. Ron Fliplowski said, liberal commentator said, was the golf course guy with the gun a migrant? David Frum from the Atlantic said, Trump and his running mate have spent the past week successfully inciting violence. Today, they want to present themselves as near victims of violence. Jonathan Chatt of New York Magazine said, Trump is a threat to democracy and saying so is not incitement. The Cincinnati Enquirer said, the former president, Donald Trump, brings a lot of stuff on himself today. USA Today said, hope in America. NBC News says golf course incident. Bloomberg said Trump seizing non-assassination attempt. Wow. Democrats and the fake news must immediately cease their inflammatory, violent rhetoric against President Donald Trump, our former president, which was mimicked by the would-be assassin. President Trump said it best, quote, because of this communist left rhetoric, the bullets are flying, it will only get worse. A society divided, folks. This politically changed atmosphere highlights a broader societal issue. With inflammatory rhetoric being used as a weapon on both sides of the political aisle, however, the Trump campaign specifically calls out Democrats for their use of divisive language that they believe has fueled real-world violence. While much of the rhetoric would be chalked up to political posturing, it's become harder to ignore the consequences when threats become actions, such as the recent attempts on Trump's life. These tragic events remind us that political violence is not just a theoretical danger, it's a reality. In this increasingly polarized environment, the constitutional republic faces serious challenges, and it becomes existential for leaders, media figures, and public influencers to recognize the weight their words carry. Without a change in the tone of discourse, the risk of more violent incidents only grows, further destabilizing the unity of our nation. Source of that is the Trump campaign. Let's move on to other news. Poll shows stark divide on gun ownership as crime rates and political scandals rise. Domestic policy and crime. A recent Pew Research poll reveals a sharp divide on gun ownership between Trump and Kamala Harris supporters. While 89% of Trump supporters believe legal gun ownership increases safety, 81% of Harris supporters think the opposite. Federal data, however, indicates that 89% of gun crimes are committed by individuals illegally possessing firearms, demonstrating that legal gun owners are not the primary source of gun-related violence. This poll showcases the broader divide in perspectives on public safety within the nation. This data paints a clear picture of the nation's growing divide on Second Amendment rights, with federal statistics offering some insight into the reality behind the numbers. In major U.S. cities, crime is on the rise, with New York City experiencing a staggering 60% increase in subway murders. This alarming trend has led to widespread concern over public safety and the effectiveness of law enforcement. Meanwhile, Miami has been ranked the rudest city in the U.S. based on a resident survey reflecting growing dissatisfaction and frustration among its population. Ohio schools have been subjected to multiple bomb threats, though Governor Mike DeWine confirmed that these hoaxes originating overseas. The threats, despite being false, have raised concerns about the constant threat of violence and the impact it has on communities. Political scandals and investigations in the political sphere, scrutiny is increasing over the frequent visits of Alex Soros, son of the billionaire George Soros, to the Biden-Harris White House. Soros visited the White House 25 times, raising questions about the level of influence the Soros family holds within U.S. politics. This has sparked debates over transparency and potential conflicts of interest. Meanwhile, Representative James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, has also expanded his investigation into Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's possible ties to China. This investigation seeks to understand the extent of foreign influence on U.S. officials and what risks may be posed to the constitutional republic. In a disturbing development, a Democrat-linked group called the Patriots Run Project allegedly deceived pro-Trump seniors and disabled individuals into running as a third-party candidates in swing districts. If these allegations are proven true, it would represent a deeply concerning manipulation of the electoral process with the aim of splitting Republican votes. International and military affairs. On the international front, Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered the expansion of Russia's military by approximately 180,000 soldiers. The significant increase comes amid escalating tensions between Russia and Western nations, especially after the debate where Kamala Harris just basically said she wanted Ukraine to win and that we were pretty much at war with Russia. We weren't supposed to tell them that. Suggesting that Russia is preparing for potential extended military operations. The global implications of this expansion are still unfolding. In a progressive step for the U.S. military, the Navy is set to commission its first Virginia-class submarine designed for a fully gender-integrated crew. This decision represents the military's ongoing efforts to promote inclusivity and gender equality within its ranks, reinforcing the values upheld by the constitutional republic. Meanwhile, there's corporate and technological shifts. Corporate America is also undergoing significant changes. Amazon recently announced the end of its pandemic-era work-from-home policies requiring employees to return to the office 5 days a week. This shift highlights the broader corporate push to return to pre-pandemic norms. Even though I think we've proven that work at home is, honestly, for the people who can do it, much better. And much better for raising children, as far as I'm concerned. Now, automation continues to be a major trend, with Chipotle piloting robots to help prepare avocados for guacamole and build burrito bowls in 2 California locations. While this development is innovative, it also raises questions about potential job displacement, potentially in an economy where technological advancements continue to strain the job market. Entertainment and legal developments. In entertainment news, Sean Diddy Combs, who has faced multiple sexual assault lawsuits and a federal human trafficking probe, has been arrested. His arrest has a significant escalation in the ongoing legal troubles and sheds light on deepening scandals within the industry, which is all a scandal. In Los Angeles, Kevin Hart's plant-based fast food chain has abruptly closed all its locations just 2 years after opening. The reason for the closures is unclear, but the move reflects the challenges faced by niche markets in the fast food industry. Who wants fast food to eat plant-based food? Yeah. Miscellaneous and historical events. In a chilling event, a would-be assassin targeted Trump, hid in the bushes near his golf course for nearly 12 hours before being discovered by Secret Service. This incident serves as a grim reminder of the security threats faced by high-profile political figures. Lastly, the final words transmitted by the Titan sub before it tragically imploded during the mission of the Titanic wreckage were all good here. This serves as a poignant reminder of the dangers inherent in deep-sea exploration and the tragic loss of life during such missions. As these stories unfold, they reveal a complex web of political, social, and economic challenges that our constitutional republic face. With the debate over gun ownership to the rising threat of foreign interference, America continues to navigate a challenging landscape. That wraps up this segment of Hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin, where we've covered everything from the nation's stark divide over gun ownership and rising crime to political scandals and international tensions. Stay tuned after the break for the Hashtag Go Right Recap Remix, where we'll break down the key points of today's news and give you a concise review of the events shaping our constitutional republic. Don't go anywhere. There's more you don't want to miss. I think it's time for us to go right. This is our Hashtag Go Right Recap Remix. Political rhetoric has once again reached dangerous heights as Trump's campaign highlights the connection between inflammatory statements by Democratic leaders and the assassination attempts targeting him. The assassin's son has described his father as a man trying to be a martyr, reflecting how divisive and dangerous our current political climate has become. Trump's campaign provided a lengthy list of over 50 quotes from Democrats showing how hostile words can lead to violent action. From Kamala Harris calling Trump a threat to a democracy to Joe Biden's bullseye comment, these statements reveal a disturbing trend of language used to degenerize or delegitimize and incite. Trump's team is making it clear words have consequences. The sharp rise in political violence in our constitutional republic needs to be taken seriously, and those fueling it must be held accountable. Let's not forget, if our leaders continue to engage in divisive rhetoric, it's not just public figures who are at risk. The very fabric of our constitutional republic is in danger. It's time for a more responsible approach to discourse before words once again spiral into action. The divide on gun ownership is just one of the many growing ideological gaps in our constitutional republic. While Trump supporters largely believe in the right to bear arms as a measure of safety, Harris supporters view it as a threat. Meanwhile, rising crime rates in U.S. cities like New York only add fuel to this debate, as people across the country worry about public safety and law enforcement effectiveness. Political scandals are also making waves, from the influence of Alex Soros to the Biden-Harris White House to the shocking manipulation of vulnerable citizens in the Patriots Run project. These actions continue to undermine public trust in our electoral system and raise significant questions about foreign influence and domestic corruption. As tensions rise both at home and abroad, from Russia's military expansion to corporate and ideological and technological shifts in the U.S., the future of our constitutional republic faces significant challenges. And it's crucial that we stay informed, hold our leaders accountable, and work together to navigate these complex times. For more news and analysis, visit GoRightNews.com. Don't forget to check us out on Rumble.com at GoRightNews. Search for hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and other platforms. And if you want to support our mission, please consider donating through Cash App at $ Peter Boykin 1, or visit GoRightNews.com and PeterBoykin.com for links. God bless everybody. Peace.